and welcome to Talk of the Town. This is show 376. You're in a real treat for tonight. 3 men, hundreds of topics, and you can bring up your own topics. Give us a call. Okay, let's get right to it and welcome some great underwriters. Stonewall's Cafe in Manamet, Brewster PC Solutions with Wrestling Brewster right here on PAC TV. Attorney Trifletti and Costa on Long Pond Road, and David Gallerani and Kevin Gallerani, owners of Cape Auto Body and Service. Locations are Samoset and Sandwich Street right here in Plymouth. And a shout out to a new business, Stracco's, right where Alley's Galley used to be. You're going to learn how to eat today is their motto. Great food. Ken said he went there and he ate well and everything was good, which is awesome. So here we are. We'd like to welcome 3 guys talking about whatever we want to talk about. So, Andrew, what do we want to talk about tonight?
Oh, well, let's introduce our new special guest visitor today. We got Randy Parker here. Randy, welcome.
Good evening.
Yeah, and
Randy's ready to talk.
And of course, Wrestling Brewster and Andrew Botieri. Today we've got a host of things. Obviously, as you know, this is a show sort of like Seinfeld. It's really a show about nothing, and we just start to bloviate. And so please bear with us as we bloviate. I thought because of all the controversy that we thought went away and came back again this past week, it has to do again with Deflategate. I think we've all had enough of Deflategate.
Oh my goodness!
It was kind of interesting to see the front that Bob Kraft put up and then kind of backed away. But I think there's some negotiations going on in the back regarding Brady and his stiff penalty, which I think is, again, still in America where you have to be proven guilty and you're innocent before you're proven guilty, that they didn't really have much. Kind of, almost, sort
Maybe.
of, almost guilty, enough to probably get the largest penalty ever in the history of football. So whether you guys are into football or not, I just thought I'd bring it up and throw it out there. And any thoughts?
It's amazing how much everybody hates the Patriots.
Isn't it? Big time.
It's like the New York Yankees. Mm-hmm. Everybody hates the Yankees, but it's, any given game, we're playing against the refs, and we're playing against the crowd, and everybody hates us. Even if you took all the points that we got with the deflated balls, we still win. Mm-hmm. Everybody hates a winner. And it's Brady, and it's such a non-issue. This is what we're dealing with. This is what the big news is.
Well, if you look at what's going on in the world between, ISIS beheading people, we've got, presidential debates coming up, we've got, Congress that can't make any decisions, and yet when you've got major news stations leading with Deflategate, internationally, it's like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Well, but the best part of it is the humor that's in it. I mean, there's a lot to be said for deflating balls.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that the sports community is caught on. Everybody around here loves the Patriots. Mm-hmm. They could do no wrong. We could care. Yeah. So have some fun with it. Yeah. And good luck, Tom. I hope he doesn't lose his endorsements. But,
right.
That's not likely. But.
No.
Well, there was actually a picture on Facebook, and it was a ring, and it said the new Patriots ring. It was a ring with a needle. With a ball needle. A deflating needle in the ring. And so this is the Patriots' new championship ring.
Yeah. So. But who would think? What difference can it really make?
Well, they still, and at the second half, when the balls were overly inflated, that we ended up still scoring, 24 points, and they didn't score any.
Right.
Colts didn't score any. So, you know what? Suck it up. You lost.
And they were warned, too, by the other teams. The other teams said, you got to look out for the Patriots deflating the ball.
So I think that there might have been a little sting going on against them. But anyways, Tom, we love you. Patriots, we love you. We love all of our Boston teams. And, Red Sox came back from 5-5 on the West Coast, so... Yeah, we'll see how that goes. They get rid of their pitching coach, and they went from, a 5.7-something ERA down to 3.3. So, hey, maybe that change is working for them.
It's hard telling, not knowing.
Yeah. Anyways, 6 minutes in. What else we got to talk about, Russ?
We're done. We're done.
We're done. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Well, let's get into some kind of light stuff before we get into some of the heavy stuff. As I see your notes, of course, you busted my chops when I was dodoing notes, but now you've got notes.
Well, that's because.
Hey, Ken, are you busy in there?
Answer the phone.
Oh, we got a phone call
already.
508-830-3971. Do we have a caller?
They said it was a wrong number.
Hey, Dave Gallerati, was that you?
He called, but then he forgot what he was going to say. So.
Oh,
Randy
that's
must
funny.
have said it.
No way. I'm not pocket dialing.
You wanted me for something.
Hey, well, we wanted to do something light.
Yeah, I want to throw up some of those photos.
Oh, okay.
So if you can throw up the truck.
The truck.
So we're just having a little throwback Wednesday. Of course, when you're on Facebook, you see some of the craziest stuff. And it was something that obviously it brings back a lot of memories. But we've got the truck when we were all kids. Hopefully out there in TV land that you remember this. No, that's not that truck. That's the snow.
That's nothing.
The truck with the fog coming off the back of it. Did you not get that? I sent it to Dustin.
So Randy, what's new in your life?
Well, we have a lot of work.
Good.
There's tons of stuff going on in Manomet. We're trying to put a bathhouse on Whitehorse Beach.
Really?
Oh,
that's
yes.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Well, it's just a psychotic experience.
Yeah.
Sure. Anything down on Whitehorse Beach is like that.
Right.
They want a bathhouse and have complained for many, many years not having one on the second largest public beach in the town of Plymouth. And so the CPC and people come up with a way to do it, and town meeting votes it, and then so many people decide, well, we don't really want a bathhouse. It's just going to draw more people.
Right. Heaven forbid.
Sort of thing. So there's a dichotomy of opinion.
What's yours?
It's an absolute necessity.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. You got to have a bathhouse for a public beach.
Right.
And it's a very nice one. It was designed by Kristen Morrison and Bill Fornishari out of their office. The steering committee, the CPC had a little contest and invited architects to submit designs.
Oh, cool.
And there were only two submissions, Jeff Metcalf
Yep.
and Fornishari.
Yep.
I like Metcalf's better,
Yeah.
and Fornishari won.
Well,
That's always the way it goes.
Right,
I
right.
say, I've
You're
got
the
it
kiss of
figured out.
death.
Yeah.
How big is
sure.
it? How big is it going to be?
24 by 24. And it's going to be on concrete piers. It's not in the flood zone. But Tom Fugazi made the astute observation at the Plymouth Building Committee the other week that it would be someday. So it's
In a
all,
floodplain?
it's not, but it will be someday.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So it's elevated.
Oceans are
Has
rising every year.
We'll have a nice beachy look to it.
Yep.
Lattice around the bottom. But it's a pretty good pitch on the roof and high windows for a lot of light. And
So just bathrooms or bathrooms and showers?
oh, no showers. No. You
Look
can
at
jump in the
water
ocean
runoff.
for that.
Right.
Or head the other way into the Welland.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So just bathrooms then?
Whatever floats your boat. Well, there's also a facility in the back for lifeguards to store
That's right, I
their
remember
stuff.
that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Good.
But we do hope that someday, directly across from the bathhouse, we can do a boardwalk
Oh, cool.
over the dunes with a big viewing platform on the top, and
That'd be
Oh,
awesome.
very nice.
that would add some utilization and character
So
to the location, and it'd be a lot of fun.
When
And
you-
besides that, people can't use the dunes for the bathroom anymore.
Right, exactly.
Like they currently do.
Right.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
you see what's going on. But Barry de Blasio has just been super. And finally, Whitehorse Beach is getting actual lifeguard stands
Really?
for the lifeguards to
Good.
sit in. And
What have they been doing prior to that?
they just kind of park in the
Congregate.
sand and wear their shades and have folding lounge chairs and stuff like that.
Okay.
I really don't know.
No, it sounded good. You had me going.
They don't
The
let me
facts
on
don't
White
always
Horse
come into
Beach.
this conversation.
I stay on Manamet Beach. You know, I used to go over there, but I grew up. You know, that happens in Manamet. You know. So that's what's going on in my world.
Oh, cool.
Briefly.
Good.
Well, and yours?
When do you think they're going to start making said bathhouse?
I think they should start making said bathhouse in the month of July.
Oh, okay.
I've you know, of course, in Manamet, I am to blame for everything. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I'll take that credit. I've got to finish a notice of intent plan.
Yeah.
With a septic system that's very nice, pre-treatment, tertiary quality. You could drink it if you dare, water coming out the other end. That needs to go in, takes a month to come up to a hearing. The forms are all filled out, so
Cool.
you know, I'll give it a month or two, and they're going to start on it. Yeah,
Be done this year, you think?
They're going for it.
Cool.
The rec department wants it. CPC's been chomping at the bit to get the funding out there. And you know, frankly, many in the White Horse Beach community are looking for it pretty hard.
Cool.
It ought to be a nice thing.
Good.
Great. Be nice to maybe have those same people try to get help the Plymouth downtown with some parking. Maybe they could move it along a little quicker than 30 years.
No, parking.
Well, they dug down where they were going to put the parking garage and found water.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, amazing. Because we live near water, don't we?
Well, yeah. Plus, the new contractor said, well, then you're going to have to put footings down much further, so it's going to cost much more. And so
That's why it needs to be uptown.
I don't understand the difficulty. Just run a marine service.
There you go.
Yeah, that's all.
That's right. We'll park the cars out of the barge, and you can
Bring
come
them
back and forth. There you
That's
go.
exactly.
There you go. I like it. I like it.
Nobody wants to hear in Manamet or White Horse Beach about parking problems in Plymouth, because Plymouth simply has a global parking problem. You know, when you have a town this old and all of the resources and all of the recreation and all the stuff to do, nobody gave any thought in 17, 18, 1900 about, you know, where the hell are you going to park?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, the neighbor's front yard is good.
Yeah.
You know, but that can only go on for so long.
Yeah.
Nope, I agree.
Parking's been a problem forever, and parking will be a problem forever.
Well, and with the you know, the 400-year anniversary, the 2020 coming up, they've got to do something, because you know, you're going to have not just, you know, national people, you're going to have international people. I mean, this place is going to be inundated. So
infrastructure would be a huge deal to the 400.
very big.
Yeah.
Very big.
Yeah. And I know JB's been working on it. I know Michelle's been working on
Yep.
it. It's huge.
I know they got some, you know, some alternative stuff without by
Colony
Exit
Place.
7,
Yeah.
Colony Place, being
Yep.
able to utilize that. Too bad the town didn't buy that little parking area
I
when they
know.
had an opportunity.
That would have been good.
But so he did say that, you know, he would work with the town on letting us use that. But it's going to be obviously a lot more is going to be needed, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And I know I mentioned Michelle Pecorello, and I know she's
Pecoraro.
Pecoraro, sorry, thanks. I know she's been working hard, and I know that the 400th Commission has been working hard. It's not something we see, and there's a lot that and I talked to her numerous occasions. And I said, you got to put yourself out there.
Well, I had her here 2 weeks ago, or last week, on when I guest hosted for Karen.
Yeah.
And you know, they've got a website now. They're writing grants. We just and she also sits on the cultural, the Plymouth Bay Cultural District.
Yep.
As I do as part of Project Arts, and Deborah Woodman, who will be here on the 3rd of June. She'll be actually sitting here on Talk of the Town as well. I'll be interviewing her and Sheila Fay, talking about the cultural district. But again, there's a lot of behind the scenes that's going on. We've got, you know, between you know, state and federal. So at least everybody's talking. But
Right.
as we know, it's in 4.5 years, and that's going to be here in a snap of a finger.
We've been saying, oh, it's only 8 years. Oh my goodness, it's only 7, only 6, 4.5 years.
Yeah,
and we just got to create a buzz.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of stuff going on. We're going to in July. We've got a group of high school and grade school kids going over to Plymouth, England. There's going to be a musical exchange.
My son's
awesome,
yeah.
awesome.
I
might actually go over to check it out. And there's going to be, again, just a lot of back and forth. We met with the people from Plymouth, England, back about, probably 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And just a lot of neat stuff going on. Of course, the whole Wampanoag story. So I just think it's going to be, just an incredible thing. But it's going to be like any event. Everybody's going to be scrambling up until the last minute.
Oof. Yeah, and it's just we got to get the town to buy into it, and we're not there yet with that.
Yeah.
What do you mean by get the town to buy into it, wrestling?
Well, if you ask people in town, they don't think anything's going on. There's half the people that don't give a darn, don't think that we should make such a big deal out of it, and there's another half going, oh, we're screwing it up. And so when we go for grants and things, there's got to be the buy-in from the town meeting to match grants. There's got to be, I've talked about this and said, you got to be in every parade, you got to have signs everywhere, we got to promote the heck out of it. There was talk at one point of going to schools across the nation with a moving display, talking about it and getting a real buzz with the students. About the history of it. If you look at the school systems today, when I was in grade school, we'd go to the plantation at least once or twice a year. Kids don't go to the plantation anymore. Our own history isn't even talked about in the school systems anymore. And they go all the way to high school before they have a course in history that says, this is where we started. This is where our Constitution really started out in the Bay.
That seems really strange because I knew your last name by the time I was 7.
Exactly.
What
is it?
Boteri. That's right, Boteri. No. But, really, this 2020 deal, it's a big deal to me because I'm not native, but I'm very proud to live in Plymouth and have a hand in that perpetual history and be part of it. And Plymouth and Manomet have been very, very good to me. And I really enjoy it and its activities. So I hope that 2020 goes off well. Probably the most liberal thing I've done in my entire political life in the town of Plymouth for the past 30 years was push for a portion of the meals tax to fund 2020 and give us some real money to work with and really put on a good party. I like a good party.
Nothing wrong with that.
Looked like a good way to pay for it.
Hey, what do you think? Dial 508-830-3971. Let us know what you think. Get into the conversation. So, where are we? What do we want to talk about? We want to talk about trash?
Ken, did you find that photo?
There is no truck.
All right. Well,
I have sausage.
well, okay, let's just do that. We weren't really sure what we're going to be doing tonight, as every night that we're here as the three Amigos. So I just wanted to talk about traditions and family traditions. Obviously, living in this particular part of Massachusetts. As some of you know, that I've got both my families got started here. Of course, my mother is a descendant of William White, and also then my Italian grandparents came over here in the early 1900s and worked at Cordage Park and was all part of that. So one of the traditions that my family's been doing for decades and probably a century, close to a century, was making homemade Italian sausages. And my grandfather, who used to make it up in Hanson after he left Plymouth, Nino's Italian sausage, Nino Botieri, and he So my dad's passed, my grandfather's passed, and now our tradition has been now we continue it with my sister and my brother. And I got the picture of the one with the little boy. This is my great nephew.
You want to go there first?
Yeah, let's go there first. My great nephew and my brother in the process of mixing up the sausage. And this is down in the basement. You can see on the back wall all my dad's stuff of Ted Williams and Red Sox and stuff. But they've got the ground pork there, and they're with the cheesecloth and cut up garlic. They put it in water, and they keep squeezing it right into the meat to get it nice and garlicky. And then from there, we put it into the grinder. We have the grinder, Ken. There you go. And what's great about this machine, this machine was patented in 1859. It's cast iron, and this was what my grandfather actually used to make the sausage. So we still use it. It's got to be probably about a good 3 feet long, and it almost takes 2 people to pick the thing up and put it on a table.
Wow. It looks like it would heat the whole house. You know?
And so you lift up the cylinder there, the galvanized one, and that's where you pack all the meat. And then on the bottom right-hand side with a little funnel, that's where the smaller funnel goes. You put the casing on, and then as you crank it, the plate pushes in there, and that's how we get the sausage. And then the final product, Ken? There you go.
Wow.
There you go.
That's a lot of sausage.
100 pounds of sausage we made.
Did you bring any for the rest of us? No.
No, I will next time, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did you find time to learn to play guitar?
in between the meat.
And it was here.
There's a song. In between the meat.
In between the meat. Sounds like it could be a country western song. Yeah, I did. But the best part of it is we've now got, family members. We've got now nieces and nephews, great nieces and nephews who are all starting now to get involved because we told them they love it. And we said, at some point, just like with the tootlings and the tortillas we make, at some point we're not going to be around to make them like our aunties. And so, it'll be nice to be able to carry on this tradition and hand it off to some of our relatives. Any traditions that you guys do in your families?
Just July 3rd.
Okay.
We have bonfires.
Which is, I did that
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year was the first time that I've actually was down there, July 3rd, and oh my God, I had, oh gosh.
Did you go to White Horse Beach or Manamet Ave, Priscilla Beach?
Then it was Priscilla Beach.
Priscilla
Do you
Beach.
remember what you did?
Yeah.
About halfway through now.
Okay.
Yeah, but I tell you, it was fantastic. What a great time, because usually July 3rd or whenever the fireworks, I go out to my cousin's who has a place out on Plymouth Long Beach, and we usually will do it out there. But this last year I did it with some friends, and I tell you, it was always cracked up to be with it. What everybody talks about the July 3rd event down there, it was fantastic.
Boy, in talking to your cousin, Chief Boterry, they've really got it down now.
To a science.
To a science,
Yes.
and in talking to him, they know what's going to happen, and they say, all right, look, we got to let this go, but we got to keep this under control and block off these roads. And talking to a couple of the policemen, they really, they had a problem where they've got the full force down there, and halfway through the day, they've got a 12-hour shift going on. So they've figured out that they're going to feed these guys.
Yeah.
So they have they've figured out how to feed them, but they really have it down because for the longest time, I'm sure as living down there, it was chaos.
It got out of hand, and people were getting hurt. And you know what transpired? Maybe you can remember the selectmen, Gene Lane, Linda Teagan, Skip Nuzowitz, a bunch of them from Manamet, and the people were getting hurt. Yeah. And the National Guard is going across the beach, and tons of folks getting arrested, and the associations and the steering committee. Once the selectmen decided, let's permit this and see if we can't control it, too much of a tradition to do away with.
Right.
Once there was some communication within the neighborhoods with the police and the fire and the emergency medical people, and understandings developed as to where the problems were and how they were going to be handled. Out of that evolved the way that it works today.
Yeah.
And it works pretty good. As long as they stay away from my house, I'm a happy camper.
The police or the revelers?
Oh, the police. The firemen. The police are no problem. I worry about the firemen.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really bad when they come to your house and they trip in the fire pit in the backyard. You know, oh, bonfire. You know.
Well, and you make a good point too, Randy. That it's again that's a tradition. I mean, it's a tradition that's been going on forever, and so. You know, maybe in some towns, some cities, they might, like there was up in New Hampshire when they had that pumpkin festival last year that turned into rioting and everything with all the college kids, and they got rid of it this year.
What's our world coming to?
Where, you know, you got to look at and fix the problem versus just, you know, taking the easy way out, which is, well, you know, let affect everybody, shut everything down, nobody can do anything.
Right.
But no, they realize that it's something important to every person in Plymouth, Manamet, and from around the area that go there. And that's what's great about it. I mean, and that's what I like about this community, except for the parking, that they can, you know, see some issues and at least try to work to fix them.
Yeah.
And I think that is a great idea, and the result has been fantastic.
And
Well, it really is the event of the year for us and our family, because, you know, my relatives come from all over the country to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And you folks are all welcome to come from all over Plymouth
Oh, coming to your house?
to enjoy it. Please do.
Oh, I'll be there.
Oh, we'd love to have you.
Awesome.
You must be a lot of fun.
I'll bring my guitar.
Well, for
There you go.
anybody, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And for anybody that doesn't know it, wrestling will work for beer.
And I'll play for beer.
You'll play for about the same. I have to go to bed early, though, because my wife's little dog hates fireworks.
I thought it was your dog.
And that's not my dog. That's my wife's little dog. Yeah, she's my friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but come 9:30, 10 o'clock, there aren't any fireworks, of course. They're all illegal. We wouldn't do such a thing.
Exactly.
Those start
Sound
to go
effects.
off, and she goes and hides under the covers, and I have to keep her company.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the price you pay for a little dog.
Yeah.
But it's still a great time. I watch out the window at what everybody's doing. You know, what a bunch of idiots. It's so cool.
It's good to watch idiots.
Yeah.
Well, it brings up the point that if you look nationally, what's up with our nation? There's so much fighting and you know, you look at the people who are protesting and they are looting and burning a retirement home and burning stuff and
You know, CVS, where all the elderly people
Yeah.
in that area of Baltimore would go and get their prescriptions.
they had a Fox News reporter down there, and the person in the booth kept saying, "Well, go talk to that guy with a hood on." And he's like, "I'm not talking to that guy." But you know, at one point, the guy said, "We're in a corner, and on all four corners of this intersection, there's people looting the stores."
Yeah.
And he went up to a couple of the statesmen, I guess they called, were there in suits. He wanted to talk to them,
Yeah.
the guy, but he was like, what's everybody, protesting? And he's like, well, the equality on this. And he goes, well, how is your point being put across with the looting and the
Within your
vandalism?
own neighborhood.
Within your own neighborhood. And he goes, well, I want to talk about that. And it's like, well, you got to talk about it.
And there was actually, and it really started with Ferguson, Missouri.
Right.
There were, you had Al Sharpton there, and who's one of the biggest race baiters going. I think he's responsible for the inciting of some of the protesting and the fires and the demonstrating and just the violence that was going on. But 25 minority businesses were burnt down. Where was MSNBC? Where was CNN? Where was Al Sharpton? Trying to talk to those people about, and none of them are going to rebuild again.
No.
And the same in Baltimore. There were dozens and dozens of businesses that were burnt down. And again, these are their own neighbors.
Right, and the shop owners were sitting there on television, and they were like, my store is completely devastated. And he goes, by people in my neighborhood, and they're just flabbergasted, like, how is this protesting? What point is it making? A lot of the celebrities are saying, Bill Cosby, for all the stuff
he's
he's
got
going
going,
through. But Bill Cosby said, you want to stop being hassled by the police, stop breaking the law.
Yeah.
Learn English. You know,
Pull
do
your
all these
pants
things.
up.
Pull your pants up. And it just...
If a cop says stop, you
Right.
stop.
Right. And it's just, I'm watching, we're heading down the wrong way.
Well, and it doesn't help when you've got the President of the United States, the Attorney General or former Attorney General, and having them basically blame the police.
Oh, yeah.
But they don't talk about, you know, the black-on-black murders that go in Chicago, where there's already been close to, 60 or 70 so far this year, or
Yeah.
30 or 40. There was on Capitol Hill today, and I've seen the gentleman on Fox. He's a captain of, I think, Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a black gentleman, black police officer, saying that the problem with you politicians is that you don't solve the problem. You talk about it's the police. Yeah, granted, there's, you know, not every police department is good. Not every police officer is good. Just like every lawyer is not good. I mean, there's always going to be bad in any group, any organization. Right. But until you look at the problem, which is black-on-black crime, and where these police have to go in and use those aggressive tactics in those areas, then stop pointing the fingers at the police. Yeah. Stop pointing the fingers at, you know, at the man, because it's not. They have every opportunity. They have colleges, and I think that they said, was it 30 years ago, 40 years ago, that the single family parenting in a black household was like maybe about 20% or something like that, and now it's over 70%.
Yep.
There's no father figures.
Yep.
You know, God, if I stepped out of line and my mother said, you wait till your father gets home, man, I was scared crap.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then my father would come home and I'd be like shaking like a leaf. But you know what? I didn't do that again.
Oh, no. And you look at those statistics where the single family, and God love them for doing what they can, but the single family is so more apt to wind up in poverty, in having the kids not in a good way.
Government handouts.
That you know, if you bring it a step back and you look at the core family, family values, family Christian values, you know, this is where when people ask me, how do you feel, you know, that you're losing your nation? As a Christian male, white male, I'm the minority in my own country. I can't say, God bless America. I can't put a nativity scene outside of my government buildings.
Can't wear a American flag T-shirt on Cinco de Mayo.
Oh my goodness, that was just. And you look at it. Okay, we've got to be diverse, and we've got to, you know. But okay, if you don't want me to wear, if I can't wear a flag, you can't celebrate Cinco de Mayo. You know, it's my country, and love it or leave it. But you know, the whole thing where we're starting to say America sucks, and America down on America, and we're taking away these family values. God loved that woman who came out and beat the crap out of her kid that was looting. She came down there, and you know, are you kidding me? You know,
but there were liberal TV stations and news people that were condemning her for that.
Of course they were.
But they would also, though, again, that whole thing about the family, she's had 6 kids from 5 different men.
Yep.
And again, she, you know, I loved her. I mean, I stood up and applauded when I saw her, can I say bitch slapping? Her son. And you know what? I feel pretty confident that he's going to at least think twice before he does anything.
Can you imagine sitting there with all your buds being cool, and in walks your mom? Oh, crap.
Randy, any thoughts on that?
Well, you know, I think another side of it is I had a discussion, your cousin, Mike Botteri. Mike is a great guy.
Yeah,
I really enjoy him. Our police force
he does a good job.
Top notch. And I think our police and across the country as you say, Andrew, they get put
The bad rap.
in a very tough spot. And the discussion that Mike and I had was that this is America, and that there is freedom of choice, and that we are permissive first. But in that freedom of choice, there's a culture that goes on now where adults and children and others are going down the wrong roads fast. And we look to the police to solve that, when we really have to look to those core values of community and family and regardless of how you frame it, whether religiously or not. As far as I'm concerned, the point of religion is establishing morals over tens of thousands of years of civilization, and we seem to be going backwards. And that how we stop it is the big question. Do we take away our liberties? Do we take away our freedoms of choice? And I certainly hope not, because nothing irritates me more than having my freedom to choose imposed upon.
Oh, yeah.
I really get irritated.
Well, we used to recite.
Have you?
Oh, yeah, town meeting floor.
No way.
We used to, in school, we used to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and be able to sing "God Bless America." And now some people will protest that. It's not usually the child; it's the parent, and then they got to stop doing that. And they've really taken, once they took God out of the schools, they took. And the seculars, which in my opinion are the progressives, continue to try to take God out of everything, and we're seeing the result of that. When my grandparents, my grandmother especially, and I'll never forget, because I always said to her, I would have loved to have learned Italian, and we didn't, because when they came here in the early 1900s from Italy, her mother said, "You speak English because I want you to become Americans."
Oh, but what it could have done for your lyrics, Andrew.
Oh, my God. Oh, solo mio. But with that, so back then, the thing was, you come to become American. You assimilate into our culture and our society. Today, people just come to live in America and to suck off the teat of America. Yeah. Where when I was in Southern California, when I lived in Southern California, there were... let's get this right. I think it was 17, but at the ballot box, there was 17 different languages that the ballots were in for a local election.
Boy, Larry Pfizer would love that.
Oh, wouldn't it? Plus one for English.
Yeah, and it's just, and it's gone. And if we don't correct this soon, the Christianity which founded this country, which both, your forefather and all of ours and the founding fathers of our Constitution, they brought in, God-given right.
That's why they left England.
Exactly.
And there's a bunch of people out there who will say they left for a bunch of different reasons. No, they were highly religious and wanted to come here to practice their religion. And I keep getting back to that core family. And a lot of parenting books will say, when's the last time you sat down at dinner with your entire family, took the phones away, took the television away, and talked to your kids? Every night at dinner, I say to my son, "How was your day?" And he's like, "Fine." and it's like, buddy, I'm going to keep asking you, because one day you're going to say it's not fine.
Yeah.
And one day you're going to say, "Oh, I had this happen, I had that happen." One day, with God's grace and all that. But you watch the core family, and you get into debates about what marriage is and the institution of marriage, and we've got all these celebrities getting married for a week, for 2 weeks, and till death do us part is just a word, and a marriage is a word. And you talk to young kids today, and they're like, "Well, why should I get married? We do everything that a married couple will do, and why get married?" And it's like, well, for one thing, one thing, we have a caller.
We have a caller.
Oh,
We'll stop conversation for a caller.
you guys guys are way too serious.
That's because you're not here.
Mr. Gallerani, how are
You
you?
guys need to have a glass of wine and talk about golf.
We got vodka.
Like it's at the Republican convention.
No, it's vodka, Dave. It's vodka.
What did you want to talk about?
I don't know. I've been watching for a few minutes and I'm like, holy moly, these guys are way too... Get Randy going about growing marijuana.
We could do that.
That'll mellow us right out.
Well, and you make a point, Dave. It is serious, but you know what? Nobody's talking about it. Therefore, it's not getting addressed. And until it gets addressed, our country continues to go down the toilet bowl.
And one thing I've always said is at least have the conversation.
Yeah.
People give people like I know that they would talk about these things and like, oh, why are you bringing that up? Well, bring up the conversation. Yeah. It's a great conversation.
Yeah, no, there's no question. But I like the sausage was great, Andrew.
Yeah.
Oh, great. You had the sausage. Awesome.
Yeah. Next time we're going to have sausage, so you better come.
Sausage was awesome.
Thanks, bud. I got to try some of yours.
I got to give you some. I'll bring some down and put it in the freezer down at the shop for you.
Yeah, let me know and I'll swing by.
Wrestling can come down and, get some.
Yeah.
We'll just meet us at Andrews after the show.
That's right. I don't know if he ever leaves Manamet.
That's right.
He's a Manamet guy. I don't know if he leaves the Pine Hill.
Oh, that's a big hill,
Yeah, it's pretty scary this side of the Pine Hills for sure.
The water's bad up there in Manamet. That's why they are the way they are. That's why they have all the problems down on White Horse Beach.
That's right.
Yeah.
So David, if they move the construction away from your place of business,
I
or
love the construction. It makes the car stop right in front of my shop and notice me. Right.
Yeah.
She got one of those human directionals.
You must be loving the potholes.
The potholes are good, the construction good, the police are nice. We're having a good time. We're all right. Business is good. My customers come to me, so.
Now, I know that you make breakfast for your guys every morning. Are you also giving the police some breakfast there too?
Breakfast and lunch, yeah. Gibby was in today. Oh, yesterday. I forget yesterday. No, we have a good time.
So you gotta bring something up, or we're gonna go back to our in-depth conversation on life and happiness.
Let's talk about golf or something.
No.
Lions starts having a golf tournament on June 7th at 8 o'clock in the morning at Squirrel Run. This is a shameless plug. And
nice.
We raise money for, I research and we give a lot of money to the local homeless people. I was reading the paper today about how there's no apartments and apartments cost too much and all that jazz. It was all over the front page of the paper. And, construction costs are expensive too. And that's part of the reason. I mean, keeping up the apartments and the cost of labor is expensive. And they didn't bring that up in the article. All they brought up was that people don't have enough money to live and we're going to pay them $20 an hour to flip hamburgers down at McDonald's because we're going to pass that law pretty soon because that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
And I'll get you right back in that political conversation.
All right, Davey,
You guys are on your own now.
All right, hey, thanks for calling in.
Okay.
But you know what's interesting? Listening to Dave and thinking about Plymouth and the nation and some of our differences, there needs to be some serious conversation. And I think wrestling points that out. But I've looked at Plymouth and I have wondered when sitting at town meeting. I mean, I've been here since 1972. I drove a school bus for 8 years or so. In all the time that I've been here, on my bus, we had the Gregory kids, and they were Afro-American. I've seen 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 cents. What's the deal? We have some very hardworking Brazilians in town. We have some Orientals in town. Why don't we have more Afro-Americans? And I'm not complaining, mind you, because you see some frustrations on the part of that particular sect, and it makes the static all the greater, it seems. But I've always wondered, and maybe you guys have an opinion, how come Plymouth is so white? What makes us this way? Is it your fault, Brewster?
Yeah. When we came over on the Mayflower, we made a little pact that said nobody comes in unless they're.
But that's just a bit of curiosity to me.
I think one of the things, and I'm in the apartment business. I publish the Apartment Finder magazine.
Shameless plug.
We deal with shameless plug. We also have apartmentfinder.com. So if you're looking for an apartment, you can go on there. But I've been in the apartment industry since the late 80s, out in Arizona, Southern Cal, San Francisco, Philly, New Jersey, and now back here in Mass. And the problem, it was the same problem when Menino was in Boston. They wanted to build housing, apartments, but that 20% had to be set aside for affordable. Mm-hmm. There's not enough affordable, and obviously the closer you get to the water, the higher everything is. Home prices, apartment prices are higher.
Taxes.
Yeah,
and
people are higher.
And as part of some of these developers, and they've been able to skirt some of the language where they can actually buy out of building affordable by contributing to some fund. So if there's 100 units, 20 are supposed to be affordable, they can say, well, you know what, I'm going to put money into this fund, so now I only have to build 10. So now instead of 20 affordable families, and now we're only going to build 10. There's a group or organization that is part of the apartment industry called NEMA, which is New England Affordable Housing Association, and they've been doing a tremendous a lot of work, but it's the developers, and really, Algonquin Heights is probably really the only affordable housing that we have.
So you're saying that affordable housing will solve everything?
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that, when you look at, in Randy's question about, how come we look so white, it's because the housing costs are so expensive. And until there is more affordable housing that's built, that's going to be the place. I mean, you have them in Randolph.
Yep.
You have them in, Stoughton. So, some of the areas that are just outside of the city, but yet aren't near the water. I mean, Quincy, God, you can't touch. I mean, the average rent in a one-bedroom in Quincy is almost $2,000 a month.
Yep.
In Boston, all the new apartments that are going up along 93 before you hit the tunnel, the average one bedroom is $3,000. I mean, the average person can't afford that, and so they're driving out. And most of the people who work in Boston are going to be your minimum wage people. They can't afford, so they're the ones that are taking the T into the city.
Well, and once you get that affordable housing, let's talk about the taxes in the town of Plymouth.
Yeah.
You look at Warren Avenue. Mm-hmm. There were, a couple months ago, 16 houses on Warren Avenue for sale.
Saw the signs.
Because they can't afford the taxes.
Yeah.
And you got to start looking at that.
It's not the old money anymore.
No, and that starts to hurt because you have oceanfront homes, or closely there too, that have been homes generationally.
Yep.
For generation after generation, and there might have been some money there at one time, but that doesn't mean there'll always be money there. And you've got to think that it hurts a family to lose a place like that because they become vested, and those are their roots.
Right.
It's interesting to me to just look toward the future and wonder how we work this all out. I kind of have a philosophy that families need to go back to working together and living together like the 19th century or the 20th century.
Going to move back in?
Well, I hope so. I enjoy my children.
Well, that's awesome.
They're cool.
That's awesome.
Just need a bigger house,
right.
But that's all right. If everybody's contributing together, and you can improve that family core, that's got to be one way. That's got to be one way to help. Everything is in general.
But you talk about the people who move into Plymouth and the people who are looking at where they're moving to. One of the biggest factors is they can't afford to live in Plymouth. I hear that time and time again when I talk to people who are like, oh, we were looking at Plymouth, but we just cannot afford it.
Yeah, my son bought across the town line.
Yep.
Down in Sagamore.
Yep.
A lot less money for the house and a lot less money for taxes.
Carver's another place people are buying.
You know,
Halifax.
best bang for the buck.
Yeah.
But he's not in his hometown.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Which is scary. You know,
Yeah.
to me,
I
it's
don't like
scary.
it.
It's scary that people are being driven out of Plymouth, and you know the powers that be really need to look at that and say, okay, you know, we got to do something, because it's and not to throw it on town meeting, but town meeting sits there and looks at our budget every year, and we spent what, 5 minutes on our
Oh, yeah.
$16 million budget. We spent an hour and a half on band uniforms, but I just
$90 million budget.
I didn't get that idea. But
sure.
yeah, I'm excited that you knew how much it was.
Well, I got to help spend it, and I can't say that I necessarily enjoy that.
Right.
You know, but it goes through such a marathon.
Yeah.
Getting to town meeting that there's not a whole lot left to be said about it by the time we get to Article 7.
Yeah.
And look at the operating budget, but. You have to wonder, and it's tough when you're part of the government, if the government really cares, because I have heard in the past that, oh, so what if these people lose their homes? We'll get people in more elitist that can afford them.
Wow.
And
Just what we need.
Right.
You know,
Just what we need.
go back to Farmer City. What do we care?
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, but I think Plymouth people that have grown up here need to care, and I think they do.
Yeah.
I think people love it here. But we've got to be able to afford to stay one way or the other. And I think the key to that is people getting back together and living together and working together. And
So I can come over and live with you when I get thrown out of my house?
well, you know, we just had the steps to the bulkhead fixed in the basement. But we won't tell anybody that.
No.
Wrestling, come on over.
He's in the
Bring Belinda. And you got a son?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Noah. Yep.
How many children?
Just the one.
Just the one?
Just the one.
For some reason you stopped at one?
Yep.
We won't go there.
Yeah, but he's excited. He's going to that England trip, and that's a pretty awesome thing that the school system, Dr. Maestes and the school system got that together. They went over, actually, when Belinda went over there as a selectman many years ago, they started to form that thing where they were talking to the people in Plymouth, England, and they said, well, if we started this musical thing, this year we'll go over there. Yeah. Next year they're bringing here, back and forth till 2020 and build it. And they're going over there the 5th of July. Yeah. And they're actually going to sing the national anthem with the Philharmonic on the 4th down at the waterfront.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and then they're going over. They're going to sing this big, huge concert, going over for 5 days. It's just one of those, wonderful things that.
Oh, like the Philharmonic. I mean, it's the oldest one in the country. I actually got to go last Sunday to a fundraiser for Arc of Plymouth.
Yep.
And I'd met the conductor Stephen.
Carrie
Douglas at the Artie Awards that we presented a couple weeks back, and. It was just, and I think maybe once early on I've seen those, but what a fantastic show. And incredible musicians. He's an incredible guy. I got to talk with him for a little while just about music and stuff.
He loves his
But again,
job.
Plymouth has so much. What are you yakking about?
Oh,
another call.
Welcome, caller.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I just want to say, why wouldn't people want to live in Plymouth? Because they have a great high school.
Well, that's true. They should want to live here because we have a great high school and another
I
great.
have nieces and nephews that live in Duxbury. It does no comparison to their high school. It's really.
The building
I
or
just
the.
went there tonight for the first time for a track team thing, and we got it all over them.
Yeah.
They even breed it. I don't know. They're going to do a botanical garden. No. Why? Look at the statistics.
Which
Okay, that's all I have to say.
Well, no, thank you. And you know, you bring up a
All right,
good point that education is extremely important, and you know, the success of any town, any city, any state, and any country really is its education. And I mean, both schools are fantastic. The new Plymouth North. Hello, did somebody just get hurt? The new Plymouth North is just a fantastic school. I know that, you know, Whitman
all
Hanson
kinds of
has a new
awards.
school. Kingston's got the new school.
Yep.
And
South's coming.
and hopefully, you know, we can start turning out much more highly educated people, because again, we're just talking a little bit about the minimum wage and, you know, flipping hamburgers for $15. That used to be a job for kids out of school to at least give themselves some pocket money, and now unfortunately it seems to be you know, if you want to get into management with a McDonald's or a Burger King, that's great, but a lot of people just do it to be able to supplement themselves. 2, 3, 1.
2 3 minutes. That's what you got to get a wrap.
Okay. Well,
See, we got going. Didn't I tell
We
you?
did.
Just
It
get
goes
going.
by fast.
It's a conversation.
There's really nothing to it, but that last lady on the phone, when I go to Plymouth North for a town meeting, I feel like I'm going back to college.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
It is so awesome in there, and Plymouth South will be similar.
Yeah.
And those are expensive facilities, and they have to be paid for, and that's certainly part of the tax base and tax bills that we all complain about. But it's
But
an
that's one of
absolute
those-
necessity.
That's one of those things that you don't
You
mind
know?
paying for.
Don't mind paying
Yeah.
for that. No,
Because if you don't
not a
pay
bit.
for it, you're not going to have the schools, you're not going to have the education, and then, you know, you'll have more kids living at home without working, not
Yeah.
working.
No,
And
they
then you're
gotta
not going
work.
to have the
They gotta
clothes
work.
because you keep talking. And
Oh, that's right. Okay. Anyways, we're going to get ready to close here, but I did want to mention that next Wednesday, June 27th, I'm going to have Mike Landers from Project Arts. We're going to be talking about, and I also sit on the board for Project Arts too, just talking about all the free music we've got and also the stuff that we've been doing during the winter to help raise money. And I'm also going to have a group from Johnny Medlin and a couple other people from the scleroderma walk that we have coming up on June 14th, which is the autoimmune disease that I am afflicted with, and actually have been having some issues of late, but hopefully I can work through those. It is a rare autoimmune disease that there's no cause for it and there's no cure. So if anyone is interested in either donating some food to our walk or want to come in and participate at the walk, you can get a hold of me at andrewbotieri.com. And then on the 3rd, I'll have Deborah Woodman and Sheila Fry from the Cultural District of Plymouth there. So, am I closing out?
Yes,
I'm closing
remember?
out. That's right. Don't forget, if you see Karen or Ken around town, ask Ken to pay you back the money that he borrowed from you. Please stop and say hello to them. They're wonderful people. And again, want to thank Randy for stepping in and doing a great job tonight. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Again, another episode of
Three Amigos.
Three Amigos.
And thanks to our producer.
Yes, Ken's did a great job today running around.
El Viejo.
El Viejo.
There you go.